Okay, so I showed you how to tie a bowline, just make a loop in a rope. So now we have a piece of rope we can use to fasten our tarp down or what have you. So now I'm going to show you a more important survival aspect of the bowline, and that's called the one-handed bowline. And as I explained before, the purpose of this would be an emergency situation where you have an incapacitated arm, left, right, whatever, and you can't physically move that arm or tie rope with it, whatever. I'm going to show you how to tie it. Very simple. Just a thing before we start is when you get your rope, you want a long enough piece of rope. Just for practicing purposes, you can use something as thin as paracord. I'm going to be using a thicker rope. It's maybe about the thickness of like a magic marker. It's actually a boat rope. It's just white. I figured it would contrast, be easier to show. Yeah, just make sure that you fasten it. You don't need a buddy to help practice this, but fasten the rope to a tree or a pole or something that won't slide or pull if you're yanking on the rope, just to mimic someone throwing you rope. And then also, don't cheat when you do it too. Make sure you're only using that one hand. And practice with both hands, left and right-handed. Because you're not that lucky that you'll fall and the arm you break happens to not be the one you always practice this with, so you know how to tie it. That being said, let's just jump right into it. So I'm going to be teaching you the one-handed bowline. So for this demonstration, we're going to pretend my left hand is broken. Anyway, so my rescue has arrived, and they've tossed me a rope. Now, I'm 25 feet down. I can't physically climb out. I've been sitting there for a day or two, I'm pretty dehydrated. I got a broken arm, or missing arm, whatever you want to pretend. So they throw me the rope, and I get the rope, and I'm thinking, I can't pull myself up with it. I can't hold my body weight. I'm not going to be able to do this. So, luckily, I know how to tie the one-handed bowline. So, first step of this, what you want to do is you grab the tail end of the rope they threw you. And what you're going to do is, keeping the rope in your hand that isn't disabled or whatever, pass it over your head and your shoulders around your waist. Never let go of this piece of rope. Now, keeping it in your hand, you can grab your arm, pick it up, and move it over to the outside. Never tie it with your arm inside the rope. So now we're here. What we're going to do is, keeping the rope, I'm using this hand just to show you stuff. Keeping the rope in our hand, it helps if you put the tail end coming out towards your thumb. Line the rope down your arm. It makes it easier to control, and I have more grasp. I can pull it tighter and stuff like that. Moving on. Now what we're going to do is, once we have the rope around our waist and we have it securely in our right hand, we're going to cross over the top of our rope. So, just to show you, it's going over the top here, and it's going to create this V. See this V? Like coming from your body to the point, which is where you cross. Now what we want to do is, once we cross over the top of that, I like to stick my thumb out as a guide point or a hook so I can grab this rope right here. What we're going to do is, we're going to come under the rope. We're going to push our hand down and come under the rope using our thumb, hook that rope, and our hand is following where our thumb is pointing. And just come out through, so the rope will wrap around your wrist, it will loop around your wrist, and the rope will be fed through. Now, just to show you something right here, we have the start, I don't know how to position this, the start of the bowline. We have our tail end here, which goes around our body, which loops over the top of the rope here, and then comes around our hand and creates that loop. And we're at the first step where you feed the rope, or you put the rabbit out of the hole. You come under this side, and next step is to go around the tree. So, we're at this point. Make sure you guys are in frame. We're at this point. So now, You never want this tail end, that's something I need to stress, is never let it leave your hand. You could lose the entire knot, lose valuable time, or even lose the rope, depending on the situation. So what you want to do is, keeping it in your hand, come under. Another thing I do, a little trick I do, is I hold the rope with 3 fingers here, and I make a gun, finger gun. Because I need to pass the rope to myself. I need to go under this and pass this tail end back to myself. So when you come under like this, see, go under the rope, I'm going to take my index finger and actually pinch that rope back over and use my thumb to clamp tight. So just maybe get a better view of this. We're coming from here, under the rope, index fingers pinching the rope over, my thumb's coming and clasping that. Now I'm going to pull it back through with my thumb to the point where I can get my fingers back around it. Now the hard part, doing this slow, is once you have this rope passed back, you need to go back through this hole, this loop we made on your wrist. So this is going to be tight. So something you might want to do is, when you're here, you might want to reposition the rope, get it so you're here, you have it coming over like that. Whatever's comfortable. Just make sure you don't lose it. And what you want to do is, you're actually going to finagle with it to get it through. Never let go of that tail end. Now once you get your wrist out of that hole and the rope followed you through, you're going to just pull on your tail end, and you can even lean back on the rope, because your rescue should be holding the rope. They're not just going to throw you a line of rope that isn't fastened to anything. And then once that's tied, you'll have, this rope's a little wet. It was sat out here last night, just found it on the ground. You'll have your bowline knot, if you can see the loop coming around to fasten that, the loop coming behind the rest of your rope, or the rope that would be going to the safety or rescue that's pulling you up. And then you have your 2 parallel lines with your tail end in the loop. Now, just a demonstration to show you that I tied it properly. Before I do that, another thing you might want to do is, when you're being hoisted up with this, say they're pulling you up something, don't put it on your waist. You can actually put it on your hips, or make sure it's going across your butt. It will be a little more comfortable for you, and you can literally sit in it. Now, as you can notice, I can just lean back on this rope. I'm leaning back on this rope, and it's not slipping, it's sliding, it's holding my weight. I can just sit here and relax. And if necessary, and make sure when you're doing this too, if you're being hoisted up, this arm's dead, I can't use it. Grab the rope with your hand right above the knot. It creates a leverage point for here. You can control yourself so you're not flailing and flopping. This thing isn't foolproof. You can come out of this hole. If it were to flip upside down and you slid out or something, it's possible. But for the most part, this loop will not come undone. This knot will not slip, and now you're safe and secure in the rope. And it makes it a lot easier on you to be pulled up. You don't have to actually grip here and be hoisted up. My hand, I'm coming around this way, pulling my arm out if needed, taking the rope, coming under, around, wrapping through here, playing with the loop, and leaning back. And that's my one-handed bowline. Okay, now the one thing I'm going to stress with the one-handed bowline is to make sure you practice it with both your left and right hand. It's the same thing with both hands. It's just you're doing it from a different way, so it might take you a little time. And in an emergency situation, you don't want to have to sit there and think, okay, now I cross and then I'm going to loop. Yeah, I'm going to loop through here and then pull. You don't want to have to think like that. You just want to be able to grab the rope and just tie it and go. So just make sure you practice that with both your left and right hand. If you have any questions regarding the bowline or one-handed bowline, feel free to send me a comment, a question, anything with the email I'll have below. It will be in the description. Same email I have in every video. I'll get back to your questions within 24 hours, or as quickly as humanly possible. But yeah, so just make sure you're following them in order. If you already know how to tie something and you're very confident with it, you can skip over the video and just move on. Yeah, so thanks for checking out my videos. Feel free to look at some others, look around, send me any comments, questions you have. So yeah, I hope to see you around.